Hi, my name's Tyler Boronski. You're watching my YouTube channel where I interview professional athletes and celebrities. Joining me today is Jim Hoffmaster, who plays Kermit in Showtime Shameless. I'm a big fan of Shameless. I'm a big fan of Jim. So I really enjoyed this conversation with Jim about the show. Please enjoy the interview. So Jim, how are you? Thanks for coming on. And can you believe it's been 9 seasons already, Jim?
I know. Time flies when you got good duty, as they say.
What was the original plan for your character Kermit when you signed on to season 1? Because I know you're doing guest spots a lot. This is your first recurring role. What was the original plan for Kermit?
That's an interesting question. I am actually, I'm not sure if when I had auditioned for Shameless a few times prior to Kermit, and I do not know if Kermit was specifically set up to be a recurring character or not. I'm not really sure. It might have been, but I'm not certain.
I want to talk to you about, you had the day off from shooting today. I know you're doing some other work afterwards after this interview, but I want to know a little bit about the process of making the Shameless episode. How far in advance do you know you're going to be in a specific episode?
It depends. It can be as well. It's kind of a process of the first notice we get is that I'm pinned for an episode, which means I'm in the current iteration of the script, and so they think they want me. And then within a couple days or a week or so later, sometime after, we get the offer. Yes, he's in the script. We want to, we'll pay this, and the trailer's this, and this, the conditions and so forth, and we sign off on it, and I'm good to go. But it can be it can vary from in terms of getting notice that I am definitely in the audition or in the episode. Mm-hmm. It can vary from a week or so to on a few occasions it's been hey, tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, that when that happens, it kind of suggests to me that something has gone a trifle awry somewhere in the process, but it happens sometimes.
I see. So when you find out, let's say you find out like last minute like that, when you're finding out what the script is for your character, do you do like a table read with the cast beforehand? Do they just send you the script ahead of time? Like, learn this by tomorrow? How does that work with the script?
Typically, like I said, that's not typical that they go, hey, it's tomorrow. Well, I refer to me. I know you interviewed my buddy Mike, who plays Tommy on the show.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Typically, we don't get invited to the table reads that often. Though actually, this season, the current season, season 9, we're a little more involved. So we actually have been invited to a number of the table reads. Typically, we just get they just email the script to us and we read it and do what we do.
Awesome. Now, most of your scenes are in the Alibi room, which I know they shoot that at Warner Brothers studio.
Yeah, the vast majority. I was pretty excited. I shot a bit on the last episode. We just finished shooting 12.
Okay.
And got a bit where I was actually outside the Alibi, which is very exciting. I was on my feet. Typically, I'm sitting. I'm sitting at a bar. I'm sitting at the bar stool at the Alibi.
Well, look out for that episode, for that moment. I'll take a little screenshot. Maybe you'll post it on Facebook. That'd be great to see.
I will.
Absolutely. So do you guys just knock out all the Alibi room scenes in one day? Does it take multiple days to get all those scenes done?
It depends. Again, it's pretty variable. They're using in this season they're using us quite a bit.
Yeah.
And in multiple scenes in episodes. But we can, it can be anywhere from being in a single scene in the episode, which can take, a couple hours to shoot, or having 2 or 3 scenes. Like the next episode I'm shooting, there's 2 scenes in the episode, and we're going to shoot that in a day. Okay. Beyond that, when you get to 3, 4, that's usually multiple days.
And you've been working with for the last nine seasons. William H Macy, one of my personal favorite actors. It's incredible. 68 years old. Seems like he still has all the energy in the world to play Frank.
I was there was a particular. I wish I could remember the name of the number of the episode, but either last season or maybe season 6, there was a scene where that was originally Frank walks in, he tells the people of the Alibi that he's in effect ripped them off. He doesn't have the thing that he promised them, and we converge on him, and he turns around and runs out the door. Now Macy looked at that and said, well, I don't think that's very interesting. What if I, instead of just turning around and running back out the door, what if I go over the counter at the bar, if I clamber over the counter, if I run down the counter, if I slide under the pool table and run out the other door. And I was amazed because if I tried to do, I couldn't suggest that because I couldn't execute that. If I tried to do that, things would snap off, But he did it. We did. I forget. I don't know how many takes there were of the scene, but so there weren't a bunch of takes of it, but there were a good 4 or 5 takes. He did it every time, and like you said, he ain't young, but he's pretty good. And it was inspiring for me because it made me think, I want to be in that position. I like I said, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have suggested that better option because I couldn't have physically executed it. So it made me think, I better get myself in better shape. Yeah, he's very impressive. I just haven't. I still, 9 years in, I haven't gotten jaded about getting to work with him. It's always a treat, and it's always impressive just to watch him do it.
I still remember when I interviewed Patrick Miguel, he said there's a reason why he's an A-list actor. There's a reason why he's in that position. He's at that caliber.
As you work in this business, it's pretty easy to see why someone is number one on the call sheet.
Yeah, he's got a pretty impressive memory as well. On occasion, we I think Mike and I have both seen him come in and be like a little, because we do a little, okay, let's, right before we're going to shoot the scene, they'll have all of this in, and we'll say, okay, let's go over the lines, whatever. And he might be a little loose in the read, but just the going over it, and then when we're shooting, it's like, oh wow, that he's very impressive. He's super smart, clearly, creative as all get out in the choices that he makes and so forth. I remember the first time I did it. I did my second episode was a scene with him, and I felt a little silly because I was super nervous because he's one of my first heavy hitters that I ever have gotten to act with. And he did a thing, he did something different on a take that I was very impressed with. And then as the scene, we went back to our first positions to do another take. And as we crossed, I couldn't help myself. I said, "That was so good." And I was like, oh, it's like
that would be me.
I kind of forgotten I was a fellow actor, not just a fanboy, but he was very cool.
That's awesome.
A real pleasure to work with him. Just every time I get to do it.
Sure. Does he ever talk any stories from Fargo or Magnolia at all? Has he ever brought that up?
Ever so often he talked about shooting. The most recent thing I remember is he talked about shooting the scene in Boogie Nights where he kills himself. And that was pretty interesting. Yeah, he's got some interesting, entertaining anecdotes. Though he's more prone. I mean, he tells stories sometimes, but when when we're backstage, most of the time he's either running lines for like another scene or whatever, or playing the ukulele.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's very good. He'll play, and if it's something kind of catchy, I'll dance around, and it's a good time.
Forms a little band or forms a little group. I like that a lot.
Exactly.
All right, so Jim, you've been in LA for a while, and we mentioned in the beginning you were doing a lot of guest spots before the recurring role on Shameless. The stereotype is everyone in LA is like an actor or an entertainer of some sort. So what's the reality of the competition out there in LA?
Yeah, there's a lot. That's for sure. And I think the thing that's was disconcerting to me, because I came from a comparatively small town to come here, and I was kind of used to, I'd walk in and community theater audition or whatever, and and I'd be the only me there, so to speak. And that's the thing. You go here to an audition, and there are various slight variations of you, basically in the audition room, and you're like, oh, okay. And it's interesting too to see sometimes you go in and see, oh, that's the way casting people see me by looking at the other people. I think I haven't acknowledged mentally, like, how old I am, for example. So sometimes I go into auditions and I see a lot of, like, what I perceive as elderly, men, and I'm like,
what are you guys doing here?
Exactly. And then I realize, oh, I'm on the young end. I think of myself as on the young end of old, now casting wise, but I don't see myself that way yet. But apparently they do.
Last thing for you, Jim, for someone that's, let's say they're outside of LA, they want to come to LA to pursue their entertainment dream or goal, what would you want them to realize or consider before making the move to go out there to the West Coast?
What a good question. I think one thing I would say to particularly any young people that might be listening, do it now. If you want to do it while you're young, because it won't get easier. I didn't come out. I was almost 40 when I came out, and it's a pretty steep. It was a pretty steep learning curve. So I would say, if you've really got the feel to do it, don't be afraid. Do it sooner rather than later, because it won't get easier. That would be one thing I'd say. And the other thing for me, and I imagine it might be easier these days, but for me, there weren't really, that at least I was aware of, there weren't really like on-camera acting classes and such when I was young. I would say get all the on-camera experience that you can get, before you come out here, because you do not want your first day on a set to be your first day on a set.
Right.
You do not want my first number of jobs I had on House, on Nip Tuck, the Gilmore Girls, my first initial credits. That was me like going like, I hope somebody like tells me what to do, because I don't know. You do not want to be in that position. So I think those are probably the two main things I'd say is get as much on camera, acting training experience as you can, and just do it. Don't be afraid. I think one of the drawbacks, one of the things I regret is that I spent a lot of time I spent a lot of time thinking about doing it and not doing it because I was afraid. Don't be afraid, or be afraid to do it anyway.
Yeah. Jim, thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Tyler. It was fun.